If you're just starting out with your GoPro or you want to step up your video making game, make sure to watch this video tutorial until the end to discover 5 practical GoPro tips that will take your GoPro videos to the next level. Are you ready? Hey, I'm Andy, filmmaker and author of Project GoPro, a GoPro training school. On the site, link in the description, you can find over 150 free tutorials that will help you get started with GoPro. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Here my goal is to help you make better GoPro videos of your adventures. But now, without further ado, let's get started. GoPro tip number 1. Stabilize your clips. So unless it's actually used as a filming technique, there is nothing more dazzling than having to sit through a whole video that looks like it was shot during an earthquake. This is why image stabilization was invented, and GoPro called it hypersmooth. Since the Hero 7, the built-in digital stabilization of GoPro is so impressive. So my recommendation is to keep it on almost every occasion apart from when you're shooting in low light. In low light, in fact, switch stabilization off or hypersmooth off to prevent weird jello effect like this one that I'm showing to you. Alright, let's move on to GoPro tip number 2. Pick a frame rate and stick to it. The best way to decide your shooting frame rate is to figure out at what frame rate your final video will be rendered at. If there are no slow motion scenes or effect, just keep it simple. 30 FPS is perfect. While if you plan to have a few slow motion scenes, like you're doing actions or sport, then switch to 120 or 240 FPS when needed. So what I tend to do when I'm not sure whether I want some scenes to be in slow motion is that I keep my frame rate at 60 FPS because it's kind of hybrid settings between 30 that has no slow motion at all and 240 or 120 that is quite heavy. There's a lot of slow motion in there, and also as a result you'll have your footage in 120 or 240 FPS will be very heavy and big and hard to manage if you have a slow computer, for example. So 60, it's a good compromise between the two. You can still have slow motion, you can still slow your footage down by half of the speed, but at the same time you wouldn't have such a heavy file. Alright, GoPro tip number 3. If audio matters, use an external microphone. One of the GoPro fails is internal microphone. As mentioned in the full microphone article that I wrote, you'll find the link in the description if you want to check it out. The solution to this problem, if audio matters to you, is to get a little external microphone. There are different types of microphones depending on what you'd like to achieve, of course. But since GoPro Hero 8, you can buy a media mod which turns your GoPro into a production powerhouse, as they say. This media mod is quite interesting because it has a built-in microphone, directional microphone, and also a jack, like a port where you can plug in other types of microphones. On top of that, it includes a HDMI out port for easy playback on your TV and 2 cold show mounts for attaching lights, LCD screens, microphones, and so on. It's very interesting for anyone who wants a better overall quality, footage quality and audio quality. So if you are really serious about making videos, you want to improve your videos with the GoPro and you have a GoPro Hero 8 or 9, I suggest to get yourself a GoPro Media Mod. Alright, GoPro tip number 4. Use a fast SD card. Using a video optimized micro SD card is as important as ensuring that the battery is charged before you start to shoot. In fact, some micro SD cards are not compatible with higher frame rates or resolutions of your GoPro because of the lower speed ratings. Some people asked on my Facebook group of GoPro enthusiasts why their GoPro would freeze while recording videos. Well, this is a quite common problem among GoPro cameras and the GoPro community. So while some GoPros are just defected, I think others are fully functional, but they still freeze because you might be using a slow speed card And in fact, I don't recommend to use any of this. Be careful on that, because you might end up losing all of your footage or not recording properly on your SD card. So I don't recommend low speed SD cards below V30 or U30. Check it out on USD. This is how speed is measured, since they can fail to record your footage correctly. So what SD card do you need? In general, you need a micro SD card with a speed rating of class 10 or V30 or U30, at least this one. V60 is better, that's a really high speed SD card, so you won't have any problems during the recording process. To make you better understand this, I've included here an illustration by the known site sdcard.org that shows you suggested speed ratings for the most used video formats. Especially if you shoot at high resolutions and frame rate like 4K at 60 FPS, you must have a fast SD card. Otherwise, your footage will be corrupted and it won't get saved properly on the card. At the moment, I'm using a V30 SanDisk Extreme micro SD card, and I've successfully recorded hundreds of clips in all GoPro resolutions without a problem. But you can use any of the SD cards recommended by GoPro. If you want to learn more about compatible SD cards, find my extensive article on GoPro SD cards in the description below. Let's move on to the last tip of this video, which is GoPro tip number 5, stay always charged. Until GoPro Hero 9, that has an extended battery life, the capacity of GoPro batteries has always been quite poor, especially when it comes to 4K video recording or shooting time lapses. Imagine that if you are shooting at 4K at 30 FPS with a Hero 7 or a Hero 8, you have like about under an hour of recording capacity, more or less. But don't worry, with just a few simple settings tweaks and a couple of tips that I'm about to give you, you will be able to extend the battery life of your GoPro by, I'd say, more than 30 minutes. So how can you save batteries? It's quite simple. It's just a few little tips that will make a quite difference if you follow them correctly. So tip number 1 is to only turn on your camera when you want to film by using the quick capture function that is from the GoPro Hero 5 and above. Tip number 2, turn off Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, voice control, and GPS, everything that you don't need. Obviously, if you need them, keep it on, but at the time that you don't need them on, please switch them off. They will save a lot of battery on your GoPro. Then try to keep GoPro batteries warm, especially if you are filming in a cold environment like on the mountains, for example. A good tip would be to keep them in your pocket, or to put them in some little special bags that keep batteries warm. In this way they will last longer, because cold, as we know, is bad for batteries. They will last no time. Another good tip to make your battery last more or longer is to turn off the display if not needed. You can find this setting in the GoPro settings to turn it off automatically when you're shooting after a certain time. Then of course it's better to use original GoPro batteries or high capacity batteries, which are usually third-party batteries, but I'd say that I tried a few of them in the past, and I don't remember the actual brands right now, but with some third-party batteries, high capacity, I found them quite good. They lasted quite long, even more than the original batteries. Try to avoid third-party low-quality batteries. I mean, if you buy them on Amazon, you can find, base your research also on the reviews of people. That's a good indication. The last thing that you can do to extend your battery is to get yourself an extended battery. If you want to learn more about battery life and check out how long you can actually record with your GoPro at different camera settings, I've linked my tutorial in the description below. Alright, and that was my 5 GoPro tip of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video tutorial, and remember, as always, that you don't need any fancy camera or expensive accessories or even the latest GoPro to tell impactful stories or to make your videos look more cinematic. Most of the times, even just the camera of your cell phone or your GoPro is enough to capture moments that you will be proud to watch years from now. Just imagine that today these little cameras alone can record videos of a higher quality and resolution than old cinema cameras that have shot Hollywood movies. So stop wasting money on equipment and start improving yourself by acquiring the skills that you need to actually make better videos and tell better stories. And I'm here to help you out in this creative journey. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you next week in the next video. Ciao!